Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another interview series. This is the Zest for Life show, and I am here today with a very special character from Brighton, from the Brighton scene, running the scene, I would say, at the moment. Mr. Marshall, how's it going? How are you doing?
I come in peace.
Yes, we all come in peace. I don't know if I can do that actually. Yes, I can. Yes, I come in peace too. How is it going?
How is it going? I would say complicated. Very, very
Complicated.
complicated. Things are up in the air, but working through. Working through.
It's not every day is a good day, but I wanted to ask you, Marshall, in the name of the Zest for Life show, what is something that is giving you zest for life at the moment? That's something that is fueling your enthusiasm for life. It could be music or an upcoming event or something you're running. Yeah, what is it that's giving you that zest at the moment?
The only thing that is giving me zest for life at the moment is just having a lot of community support behind the scenes and being reassured that I am wanted and that I have a place in the scene and that I just walk in truth, integrity, and accountability, basically. So that's what's giving me zest for life at the moment.
I love that, Marshall. And for audience members of GlitterBeam who might be watching or listening to this who, don't know about Brighton and about the scene and really how you're a part of it, would you be able to like introduce yourself and tell us a bit about what it is that you're doing in Brighton at the moment?
Sure. To specify the question, whether it could just be like an overview of who I am, or like my early beginnings, or just so that I can properly understand the question.
Yeah. Just like what you say, like, you're getting community support from the scene at the moment and from the community. So, like, what is the community that you're part of? Yeah, and how would people know you, like, from Brighton?
People would know me from open mics that I've done, ciphers that I've been a part of, things that I have hosted over the years, and just being a very charismatic entertainer. So I would say that what Brighton is to me, especially from a musical standpoint, is that it's a very massive, expansive melting pot of different styles from different walks of life and different backgrounds, and they all mix themselves together to create something that is very unique and can't be found anywhere else. So I would say that my early beginnings and a lot of what comes with me is literally the reason as to why I'm very much known within the scene, and I do other things behind the scenes to help keep the scene moving.
I love that. What kind of stuff are you working on, like, behind the scenes? Why is that important?
Um, I'm not someone that literally talks about that part out loud only because like I'm more of a let my actions speak more than my words can. But
Yeah, so
I'm
fair.
all, I'm always working on something. I just have this thing where because of my own standards and because of like my own perfectionist needs that some things take a little longer than I would like them to. So
I feel that. I feel that. I am such a perfectionist myself. And like I feel like sometimes that like actually stops me from like being creative because like you're trying to be like so perfection, so achieve so much perfection. And like actually art, I think as well, is not about being perfect. And it's sometimes about being raw and rough, like around the edges. And I completely agree. Like Brighton is such a melting pot. It is so diverse. And I think you really see that at Baked Beats, which is obviously
yeah.
the event that you are super, super involved with. So tell us a bit about Baked Beats, what it is, how it came around. Yeah.
Okay, so Baked Beats, from what I can understand, they've been around way longer than I've been around, in a sense that, before I even came down to Brighton, before I even made home here, that Baked Beats was and is very much like a monthly hip hop showcase of MCs, singers, spoken word artists, musicians, and they all like, meet up to, do hours of ciphering. So what does ciphering mean? Ciphering basically is tradition in the hip hop grime community where MCs will gather together and either freestyle or do some pre-written, but they'll literally do like some very off the cuff, like
Mm-hmm.
verbal interaction with each other or against each other in
Mm-hmm.
an environment where you're literally being asked to quite literally improvise or partake in improvisational energy that keeps the vibes going, moving, but also being able to showcase your skill. So with Baked Beats, and what I add to it is that given that I'm very uh bicultural in the sense of I was born and bred and raised in London, but I live in Brighton, and Brighton's my home now. So I would say the thing that I add to it is I add a very honest essence,
Mm-hmm.
in the sense of, you know, when people get up on a mic, I'm very much a forget how much you've sold, forget the awards, forget the achievements. Like the basics of the principles are: do you have bars or not? And my
Yes.
and my element and my element with that is pretty much just like, taking it back to the very beginnings of what it used to be.
I love that.
Long before, politics got involved, long before
Mm-hmm.
people in higher up positions tried to infiltrate the rawness of what it actually is. That my role is very much I can entertain crowds for hours just by myself easily, but also in a group of other people. It's that spirit of collaboration, one, but also given that I am fiercely and extremely competitive, that
Mm-hmm.
I literally add a very competitive edge to it, because like I'm literally more about, all right, cool. Whoever says that they're the best in the room, I want to have it out with them right then and there, just so that I can
Yes.
see whether their sword and my sword are able to clash against each other, just on the basis of expanding each other's skill set. So
Mm-hmm. Love
my
that. Friendly
so my
competition.
yeah, so my involvement in the baked beat sense is literally just, welcoming and, platforming local talent in our scene to give them an opportunity to showcase who they are. But also what I love about baked beats, and I gotta give a shout out to Kaliba, to Maskeli, to Mason. What I really, really, really like about what we do is it's such an open platform. And I don't mean
Yeah.
open in the sense of like, oh my god, then anyone can access it, but I mean that, but what I mean by that is we do what we do off of our backs for free, and
Yeah.
also um given where we do it, that people can literally pass by and walk by, and you can literally make a fan instantly. So I think, like, what I love about the fact that it's done at the Fortune of War is that people can literally, like, cross by, wonder
Yeah.
what's going on, be a part of that energy, and then you'll literally walk away like making so many connections. So I just love the fierce competition, like, of baked beats, because I just love being able to battle someone who thinks that they're better than me. So
Yeah. I love it. And like obviously me and you, we've done a few a few songs here and there at Baked Beats, and I absolutely love the vibe of it every time. And I love seeing new people come up onto the mic as well and just giving it a go and just like riffing and just trying their best. And I want to know, like, from your point of view, how did you first get into like hip hop, ciphering, rapping? Like, what was your first step in?
well, given that I was, born and bred in Hounslow Heath, I grew up in a council estate. So my first exposure of understanding rap music, like, I'm a grime head. I'm a grime head to the core. So
Mm-hmm.
when I was 10 years old, like, the first grime song that I heard was Fire a Guy by Chipmunk. He's called Chip now, but that was like my entry into grime.
Yeah.
And Channel U, there used to be like a cable network on the skybox called Channel U before it was called Channel AKA. And there would be like this segment that would run every Monday to Friday, 7 p.m. on the dot, and it would just be an hour's worth of UK gold, in the sense of, like, seeing Chipmunk, seeing
Yeah.
Get, seeing Skepta, seeing Wiley, like,
Mm-hmm.
seeing the grime scene literally showcasing their talent through video. And it gave me like a very visual idea of what grime sounded like, what it looked like, how it felt like, what needed to be conveyed. So when I started getting older and started becoming a teenager, that I would literally have a go in just like writing bars and literally just trying to come up with, like, my way of portraying myself and how I wanted to basically be, be perceived through rap. And it wasn't until I was 19, 2016, I moved to Brighton to do uni here, and I
Yeah.
went to BIM Brighton, and I
Yeah.
studied music production. Now going from London to Brighton is a cultural shock, because
Yeah.
London is very multicultural, but like it's not liberal, and
Mm-hmm.
whereas Brighton is liberal, but it's white as hell. Like there is
Mm-hmm.
no getting away from that. And I don't care how people feel about this, it's true. Like, Brighton is white as hell.
It
And
is.
having to really work my way through the system, in the sense of, one, being a part of the Brighton music industry, two, like, as a raw Londoner, just wanted to be heard anywhere and everywhere, that I was like, yeah, I'm gonna make you know who I am and you're gonna respect me. And then the third thing about it, having to be so unapologetically me that the people in the scene, or the gatekeepers in the scene, rather, would couldn't deny the level of quality that they were hearing, to the point
Yeah.
where I'd have to be shown respect. So I would say that my reasons for doing what I do is not just to showcase how talented I know myself to be, but also it's about the respect.
Yeah. And you get mad respects, Marshall. You get mad respects from me anyway, absolutely every time. And it's
Appreciate it.
interesting. You said that you went to BIM. For those of you who don't know, it's a music college in Brighton, music university.
Yeah, music college university. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And I wondered what that experience did for you going down that kind of more educational route rather than, I guess, just trying to go for it or trying to learn on your own, what that really did for you and propelling you forwards.
Well, what it did for me was that educationally it enabled me to really get a degree in doing something that I loved, but also, given that BIM is also the music industry, that it really put me up on game in regards to what the industry was like, and that
Okay.
they were very, 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 very instrumental in not just getting me in the right places at the right time, but also
Hmm.
because of the fact that I was willing to put in the work to be in those spaces, even in environments where I knew I wouldn't fit in, based on what I looked like, based on what I came with. That I've got to give a shout out to Simon Gray, because like he was a tutor that really believed in me, like to the core, and was like, yeah, you're sick as an MC, and we got to get you right here, right there, right here, right there. And there were many, 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 many tutors in BIM that
Yeah.
saw the rawness that I had, and just the hunger that I had, that genuinely championed me and my journey into being who I am today. So you know networking, and and back, well, I say back in the day, we're talking pre-COVID, but there used to be a showcase called I mean, I'm sure it still runs now, but back in the day it used to be called the Live and Lyrical, and that's when I got my big break. So like, what would happen is that BIM students would audition in front of a panel of like tutors to see whether their songs, whether it be covers or whatever, could literally be worth being
Yeah.
platformed for an end of term gig. And back then, end of term gigs were like, incredibly important, because like it was a way of like, showcasing not just who you were, but literally letting it be known to the industry, like at the time, being like, all right, cool, this is who I am, and I'm being platformed on what was the biggest stage at the time.
Yeah.
So 2016, I was included on the Live and Lyrical showcase, and I literally performed a song called Speed Demon. Speed Demon was written during the time of my drug addiction, and I can't remember, like, I can't remember making the beat and writing those rhymes, like, during the time of addiction, but
Hmm.
it was the first thing that I instantly remembered as I was getting sober, and I was, I think, 10 months sober at that point. So being
Wow.
new into my sobriety. So
Yeah.
I performed Speed Demon in front of a whole, crowd of people, and it was the old market in Hove, and you know, if you told 19-year-old me that it would forever change my life, I wouldn't have even seen it coming. Like, it
Hmm.
instantly platformed me into the eyes of the Brighton scene, the industry, and then it literally like had me forming long-term relationships with Audioactive and Lighthouse and a whole bunch of other people that I've been fortunate enough to meet over the years. That BIM was the stepping stone that I didn't know would land me into multiple places at once.
Yeah.
And because of the educational part and the creative part, that I was able to seek out opportunities whenever I went, because I was
Yeah.
literally just at the right place at the right time. But
Yeah.
also, there is such a strength in being unapologetically myself, that like people didn't have a choice but to be like, yeah, we want you because you're just you,
I love
So
it. I
yeah.
love it. And I so that story as well of like, really just going for something, being yourself, being seen, being recognized, and having that like validation, I know is like so important to everyone, but also to a lot of young people or new artists, not necessarily young people that may be also trying to find their way into the industry. And yeah, I wondered if you had any advice for anyone that might be, thinking about going into music or trying to get into it.
Well, advice from me would probably be knowing what your niche is.
Love that.
Know what your niche is, but also don't isolate yourself from people. Like, and this is something that I live by to this day because like even just me leaving the house
Hmm.
as a extreme ambivert, like, even just me leaving the house can literally like have me bumping into someone that could literally positively change my life tomorrow. So I would say to any aspiring creative, know your niche. Don't be afraid to network.
Yeah.
Put yourself like I hate the generic thing of like, oh, put yourself out there and see what happens. But it's like no. Like, know who you are so much that whenever you walk into rooms that people can't help but look at you.
I love
Um
that.
be, be fearless, be incredibly fearless, be so unapologetically you that
Hmm.
irrespective of the amount of voices that try to tell you that this is how you gotta make it hit or this is how you gotta make yourself known in the industry. No. Like people's perceptions of who they think you should be aren't in alignment with who you truly are. So
Hmm.
when you walk in truth, when you walk in integrity, when you walk in complete authenticity, that it can only make somebody who has years of industry knowledge, look at you and be like, I want you. And of
Yeah.
course, it's not necessarily what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah.
So be around people that know more than you, be around people that are smarter than you, but
Mm.
be around people that can genuinely give you the motivational drive to keep going, because there will be days where you'll literally question why it is that you do what you do. But as long as you have a genuine love for what it is
Hmm.
that you do,
Yes.
then the money, the opportunities, and all of that will literally like come in thereafter. But don't ever go into anything trying to be like, yeah, but I'm not gonna get. It's like, bruh, you absolutely got to put in the work. You've got to put in the 10,000 hours. You have to, like, there is no skipping that
Yeah.
whatsoever. But as long as you have a genuine love of what you do, everything can literally be fast tracked into 6 months of success. So yeah.
I love that, Marshall. I love that. And you are so unapologetically yourself and know exactly who you are. And I think that is so admirable for a lot of people that might be watching this or listening to this and needing someone to hear that. And another thing I wanted to just ask you about is that you're very open about being autistic. And I know a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people find that very empowering. So, how would you say that that has shaped the way that you maybe experience music or perform?
I would say the second that I stopped trying to run away from myself, or the second that I stopped trying to pretend that like I didn't come with these abnormalities, was the second that a lot of things had actually changed for me. And
Mhm.
the reason as to why I bang on so much about being autistic and having ADHD and having borderline personality disorder is because I know that there isn't enough representation of me as a black person, as a disabled person. But when you're two things at once in a creative industry that doesn't necessarily like have a straightforward linear version of what that looks like, it's almost as if you have to work 1,000 times harder just to
Yeah.
be seen by somebody who is neurotypical that doesn't have those challenges. And good for them, but like the reason as to why I bang on about it so much is because I'm aware that my presence in the industry can literally inspire future generations to literally
Yeah.
have it easier than I did. And also the reason as to why I make it very intentional in representing myself that way is because not only do I want to be known as like, the sickest guy on the fucking, oh, my bad language, my bad. My bad. I knew that was gonna happen. I knew that was gonna happen.
That's okay. We can
But
edit that out. That's fine.
beep. But
Beep.
I wanted to basically be known as the sickest person on the planet, period. And with my autism, like what I understand it now to be is a superpower. And my
Yeah.
autism being a superpower enables me to actually like understand like what my
Mhm.
limitations are, but also go beyond them because I don't see myself as somebody with limits. But it also means that being in this body and being chronically ill and mentally ill and being disabled basically means that like there are 1,000 obstacles and hurdles that people don't know about that I'm gonna have to overcome every day. Like it can even be something as simple as leaving the house
Yeah.
to go to a show.
Yeah.
And people, and to a neurotypical person, it's like, oh man, just get out of bed. But it's like, no, you like people don't
Mhm.
quite understand the psychological prep that
Yeah.
you're gonna have to do within yourself to be like, okay, we're gonna
Yeah.
get through it. We're gonna get through this, and then we gotta do that, and then we gotta do X, Y, and Z to ensure that our comforts and our sensories are in complete control enough to be in an environment that you love, but still have to, overcome like, these things to do an hour's worth of performing. And for
Yeah.
me, because of the fact that music is all I know and it's all I'm good at and it's all that I've been able to do, that I'm quite lucky and fortunate that, I literally do this not just as a career, but as a way of life, but
You live and
also
breathe it. It can see that anyone I think can see that from the outside. But
yeah,
sometimes
like,
you're sorry, like sometimes like from the outside, like someone that didn't know you, Marshall, might think like, oh, he's got no like problems like with like interacting with people at all. Like he's the most outgoing person in the room. Do you know what I mean? And they don't have that extra like understanding that actually, it is really difficult.
but you know what it is though, like to tell you the truth, yeah, like what I understand about autism is that in a very ableist world, in a very 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 ableist and racist world, that people often, and I've seen this happen many a time, so I've got plenty of experience in talking about it, that people look at me and literally think, yeah, but you're so outgoing and all that, like how could you have those things? And it's like, you don't go out of your way to ask. You
Mm,
don't go out of your way to ask. And like the reason as to why like I come across as very enigmatic or energetic to other people is because I spent a majority of my life masking, and it's
yeah.
only now that I'm completely unmasked and still unapologetically myself, but having to now relearn a lot of things about myself from a very
Yeah.
unmasked place, that I'm very deliberate and intentional about bigging myself up every chance I get, because I have been in this industry, since I was 19, and like I've
Mhm.
been deliberately misunderstood by people who have very ableist and racist views of me. So it's important that if people don't shout about what I do, I've got to do that, because I'm all I've got, and I have to champion myself the way that I do, because like I feel like, to slightly go off topic here, that people often mistake humility for making yourself feel small. And it's important to be humble, but like don't be humble to the point where you're literally like
Yeah.
seeing your own skills as a detriment. And
Yeah.
that's something that Tyrese actually said. It's like, I've got to know my worth enough to know that like not only do I deserve to be here, but like any chance, and any and every chance I get, that you're gonna know about me. And
Hmm.
if your mama don't know about me, your daddy will. If your dad don't know about
I
me, then
love
somebody's gonna,
this.
what I'm saying? So
I love this,
yeah, I've
Marshall.
got to be, yeah,
I know.
I have to be willing.
It's honestly, even just talking to you now, it's inspired me. And I know that anyone listening to this or watching this is also going to feel really inspired. And I just want to say thank you so much for your time today. And I'm going to be seeing you around Brighton. I'll see you at the next Baked Beats, I'm sure. And yeah, thank you so much for being on the show.